Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome to a very special episode of our Road to Grandmaster. Midway through grinding our way through Diamond 1, we stumbled into this particular draft. You can see my reactions in the chat instantly coming out. LOL, oh god, oh dear lord, this is going to be intense. As you can see on the enemy team, probably a few names that you recognize. Number one, Haswab's there in the middle. That is, of course, we've got 3 pro players on the enemy team. Haswab's is, I suppose he's sort of like the flex player, I guess, for Team Misfits, who are one of the top 3 teams in Europe. At the moment, we have Dignitas, Fnatic, and Misfits. Misfits, you might have known them before as My Insanity. They had, they didn't actually qualify for BlizzCon this year, but during the summer, for the fall, Heroes Global Championship, but for the summer one they did I think finish in top 4, so very accomplished player. The top 3 teams in Europe are all excellent. Then we have 2 other players who are actually pro players for a lesser known team at the moment, I think called 2B's Determined. Blade, who is the captain of that team, and then AD Ordi. AD Ordi is fairly well known. I think he was on Team Dignitas, not at this BlizzCon obviously, but at last BlizzCon. At the last BlizzCon, he played for Dignitas when they came runners-up to Cloud9. So yeah, some very well-known players. Obviously, I went into this and recognized them. Would have been cool to play against one, but very scary to play against both of them. At the time I recorded this video, I wasn't aware that Blade was a pro player, but I learned that afterwards, so there you go. Anyway, as you can see, the Alarak gets banned away right at the start, and something you'll notice immediately is that the sort of the bans in this game are going to be a little bit different from the sort of standard on this this particular map. We're going to talk more about this Kira player a little bit later in the draft. However, it is worth noting that yeah, they banned away the Alarak to target him specifically, and they were joking about that in the chat a little bit earlier as well. I think the Ryukuchi-chen or something plus Antihero were are GeoQ together. Anyway, they're talking about abuse of GeoQ in order to climb Grandmaster ranks at the moment. Basically, you get your main account, stick it on with someone in like Diamond 5 or something like that, and then you run something like Tracer Tassadar. You stick the Diamond 5 guy on Tassadar, you stick the guy who's trying to climb Grandmaster on the Tracer, and yeah, there you go. You play it early in the morning, and yeah, then you're supposed to win. That's the theory, is that the you know, Grandmaster level player on the Tracer is able to just be enabled by the weaker player on the Tassadar, and he's able to sort of solo carry the game. That's the theory. That's the theory. I've seen it maybe a little bit, not that much, but yeah, a little bit. Definitely seen a little bit. Pretty interesting they actually opted for the Tyrael instead of a Muradin right there. They do have Malfurion, who would be the top healer in the game. Oh, worth noting as well that this was recorded before the balance patch we had last week. So I'm playing on Vala, who's a little bit stronger than she was, than she is now. Malfurion is also a little bit stronger. ETC and Muradin are as well. We ban out the Muradin, of course, because again, you'll see this all the time at lower levels of play, even, you know, the Diamond games that we've been bringing you, in the Master players as well. They'll often neglect to build a very good team comp. So, for example, if someone picks Tyrael, usually you'll see people go, well, Tyrael can be a main tank, great, and then they'll never pick another tank again. Of course, here we go. In this game, we're banning away the Muradin because the enemy team are good, and they probably would pick a Muradin as well as a Tyrael. They ban out the Oriel for us, trying to squeeze us onto the Brightwing. Brightwing obviously lacking the burst healing to deal with Jaina potentially if we're not careful. As you can see, this guy was talking a lot of shit, so I was like, hang on. Yes, he is the #1 Grandmaster in the game. He's cocky in the chat, but let's be fair. Let's be fair. If you are #1 Grandmaster, I suppose you deserve to be a bit cocky. You've kind of earned it at that point. And we do pick up Samuro. This was before the big Samuro nerf, so Samuro is still very good. Of course, this was very interesting. It came up in the video that I did on Samuro. because in that video we were actually going up against apparently a very well-known streamer who I hadn't known, but people were telling me about it, and they're like, oh look, you were playing against his name was Nomi. They're like, oh, you're playing against Nomi, that's really interesting, yada yada yada. And apparently he was streaming the game as well for that one when we were playing Samuro, and he was talking in his stream about how Samuro, it's not that strong, can be countered, and the chat were going nuts because they ended up losing the game pretty badly. Of course, at the time I was kind of thinking, well, I actually agree with him that Samuro is good, but he's not this overwhelmingly impressive hero that you think he is. You're going to see some really, really cool Samuro gameplay though in this particular game. We finish off our draft with the Tychus and Brightwing, and yeah, the enemy team does grab the Zarya and the Kerrigan. So really interesting picks coming out all around. As you can see, the Grandmasters. Number one. We did play with number one last season, and it was a very, very challenging game. So it'll be very interesting to see how it goes this time around. Obviously, you can see we got a couple of like weaker players here. I'm only in Diamond 1 at the moment. More importantly, on the enemy team, their Malfurion was only a Diamond peak last season, and our Brightwing was only a Master peak last season. So that's obviously a little bit concerning that those are a little bit weaker players. Or if they're both on the supports, and if the rest of us play well, they should be relatively safe. But we'll see exactly how it pans out. But yeah, I mean, the Zarya and the Kerrigan picks are obviously extremely powerful. I was thinking they might have been setting up for a Zeratul pick. Zeratul will be very strong against Fala, and would also combo very well with the Jaina. They didn't go for that. They went for the Zarya and the Kerrigan, both very powerful. And Kerrigan especially being strong in this map, of course. So I think two very good compositions from both teams. And we'll see exactly how this goes. Obviously going to be a very intense game. And you're going to see that playstyle will have to differ a little bit, considering that we're now going up against, you know, literally the best players in Europe. I'm playing with literally the best players in Europe, and literally the best player in Europe right now, in solo queue that is. Pretty aggressive positioning here, coming out looking for picks, looking for anyone out of position right at the start of this game. Obviously very scary to go up against a Kerrigan in the early game, especially Kerrigan Zarya. Pretty scary in the early game. Weakness of Zarya, of course, is that she could get out of position and picked off. You see, just being very cautious here. We just get the XP, don't need to go any further. The enemy team has not shown on the map, which means that there is obviously a Kerrigan sitting in a brush somewhere just waiting to kill us. And that's definitely something you don't want to get overly involved with. The teammates are going down to take care of the bottom lane, so I'm going to come up top. And once again, being very cautious. There could be a Kerrigan in these bushes. Don't know where she is. Scouting out the brushes with my Q. Jaina appears in the mid lane. That makes things easier for me. Zarya is here. Hello, Zarya. And Zarya doing just Zarya things, soaking up the tower shots to with her shield to empower her basic attacks. It's a Malfurion, not a Kerrigan. Luckily, he doesn't place his roots that well, and we're able to vault away. But there you go. That is the sort of the roaming gank that we were talking about. You can see the Zarya, very, very clever, positioning aggressively in the lane, and abusing the shield mechanic to generate quite a lot of energy for himself. There you go, he uses the shield to fight me this time, so his energy is going to be a little bit lower than it was before, but still nothing to sneer at, obviously. And this is definitely not a trade that we are going to be winning over time. He is at max energy right now. We have been zoned off. But teammates are here. Nice work by the ETC. Coming in, hitting him with the W, knocking back, sliding through him then. Zarya knows that he's about to die, and very, very cleverly turns around and tries to get a kill on me, but we do pick up the kill, and that is the first blood. So Zarya being very expertly punished, and that's something I want to point out to you, right? When we moved up to that top lane first, ETC and all the teammates were roaming down towards the bottom, then they're roaming up top of the map for a gank as well. They're just always on the move, constantly on the move. Samuro, however, gets punished by a counter gank, and that is awkward timing, of course, because the shrine is activating. Definitely want to be careful here. There's the Kerrigan. The Kerrigan pick potential early on in the game, especially into like Malfurion roots, is very scary. And Jaina does a lot of early game damage as well. So we really do have to be careful. Now this is a very large fight erupting over this shrine. No one is soaking, everyone is at the shrine. Kerrigan comes in, she's doing some damage. We're focusing some of our right clicks on top of her, trying to get her a little bit lower. Jaina catching the Brightwing with her Q. The enemy team very grouped up, and Samuro is on the shrine with the clones, definitely pushing the enemy team off. Nice work by the ETC, catching the Kerrigan this time. Kerrigan low from earlier, and she gets finished off. The heal over time from Malf not enough to save her. Unfortunately, I waste my vault to try to get away from the Tyrael, and whoopsie daisies, with vaults down we're able to be picked off by the Tyrael trait, so definitely a mistake for me. The nerves were real in this game, guys. The nerves were real. I was like, okay, we're gonna have to play this quite a bit differently than we're used to. However, our teammates do pick off the final few minions or monsters on the shrine. It was fairly close at the end. The enemy team had about 30 or so, but we do pick off the last little bit. Samuro has gone top to continue sort of soaking and pushing in. And are coming in here. You can see the ETC super deep in the enemy team. No fear. Brightwing actually teleporting in on him though, and that looks like, yep, that's going to be the death of Brightwing. Definitely a large mistake from the Brightwing. ETC kind of knowing his limits exactly, being able to do that. And as you see, the Punisher actually gets very, very little value. We don't even take down the 2 towers. We only take out the gate and 1 tower. So a disappointing Punisher. But I just thought that was so interesting, right? The positioning that ETC has taken throughout this game. Zarya takes some return damage. She's obviously popped her shield to already do that. Gonna vault away from the slow on the Tyrael. Don't want to deal with too much Jaina damage or anything like that. Brightwing is obviously on her way back. Actually gonna tap the well here at this point. Needs some mana too. And definitely being cautious not to engage too hard right here. We don't have a ton of kill pressure. We have a lot of sustained damage, but we don't have a lot of kill pressure here. Unless the ETC catches someone really out of position. It's more a case of, you know, fight, get them low, try to establish good map presence, and then we can turn around and do something. We noticed that the Jaina has roamed away, so we're going to be able to pick up this siege camp, I think, fairly easily. With Jaina and Kerrigan being gone, a lot of the pressure from the enemy team is gone. In fact, they had swung around to pick up a siege camp of their own. And there you go, kind of roaming towards the middle. Clear this up. Brightwing being caught out by Jaina on the rotation. Something to watch out for. I've got into a W build, by the way, on Vala, which is a little bit weaker now. That was the thing that was nerfed in the patch. But at least in this patch it was very strong. It's still strong, but not as strong as this. It does give us good wave clear. It does give us good shrine clear. Going to be useful. You can see we're kind of roaming in a 4-man rotation here. Myself and Brightwing looking at potentially picking up this siege camp on our way. The enemy team has picked up their bruisers, but our Samuro is going down to the bruisers. That is the real strength of Samuro, especially now that Samuro's team fighting has been nerfed. He is still very strong at killing merc camps, basically on his own without taking any damage, and he kills them pretty quickly. Myself and Brightwing get started on the shrine. We don't have a very strong solo Shriner. Nothing on the level of a Kerrigan that could just, you know, wipe things out kind of one by one by one. Luckily the roots from the Malf aren't that great once again. Kerrigan does engage in, gets a nice combo onto the Tychus. Tychus also getting hit by the Jaina combo then following up from that. Brightwing goes in, Brightwing is going to go down. Nice roots plus grab combo from the Kerrigan once again. Samuro, I think, was just on his way on the rotation after picking up the bruiser camp. He was not in the fight quite there. His illusions are now in on top of the shrine right now, though. We're doing some whatever poke damage we can. Vaults out to the side to avoid the Kerrigan combo, which worked out very well for us. The Tyrael is on top of us. We're getting a nice poke down on him, though. As Tychus does take a few hits. And here we go, very close on the shrine. 29 to 21, make that 31 to 24. Tyrael has gone pretty low. He's gone pretty far in, actually. And we've established a pretty nice position here. Kerrigan goes in for the kill in the ETC, gets a lot of damage down. But a flank from Samuro, and 2 of the enemy teammates go down. The Malfurion was very low, out of mana, out of health, out of everything. Tyrael comes in, though, and picks up the last thing as we hit level 10. That's level 10, but the Punisher has arrived, and it is an enemy team Punisher. Don't want to get caught by that. I'm being chased by the Jaina. And at this point I was going, ah, shit. Tried to juke a little bit as the Jaina was chasing me. I was like, damn it. If this was like a diamond Jaina, I'd say 50% of the time we would have escaped alive. Unfortunately, this is a Hasawab's Jaina. So Hasawab's lands the Blizzard perfectly, lands his E, lands his Q, and lands the basic attack. Everything aimed well. Not at all phased by the jukes, not even slightly. And we get taken out. I was like, damn it. Well, I don't mind being killed by Hasselhoffs. I can live with that. That's fairly legit. You see, I'm kind of investigating what heroics we have here. So I think we've got Stage Dive, Emerald Wind, actually pretty intriguing. Probably wouldn't have been my choice, but it's not an awful choice. And then mirror images from the Samuro. And this is what I was talking about when I said that we're going to see some really interesting Samuro gameplay. He's going to be using mirror images and the direct control over them with Illusion Master to basically push multiple lanes and to have a presence in multiple lanes. It's very, very interesting. Tychus getting some nice damage down. The enemy team, though, rotating up through the shrine to the north. Expulsion Zone comes out from Zarya. Luckily, she does miss. However, down to the bottom. Nice sidestep from Tychus, saving his life from that Kerrigan combo. Would have died otherwise. 5-man enemy team here down in the bottom. So we retreat away. I think very well played in that situation by the Tychus. And we were lucky that the Expulsion Zone missed. But yeah, Tychus remaining cool. Showing that he is, of course, Grandmaster quality. Yeah, with how we were split by how the enemy team had rotated. Of course, I get caught by the combo this time. And then Judgment knocks us back. We get finished off, I think, by the Brightwing. Definitely we had overextended right there. And then Brightwing being slowed, not able to sidestep the Ring of Frost. So well played by the enemy team. We definitely over-aggressed, went too far forwards. And got caught out by flanking a couple of sides. And now the enemy team is in the advantage to level 13 to level 12. You can see what I mean on the minimap though. We've got we've got a Samuro on both lanes. He's using his clone to kind of push both at once. And there are advantages and disadvantages to that. Obviously the disadvantage was we got caught out by the 5-man team because we were not positioned well enough. And still the power of Kerrigan. She will start dropping off now a little bit later into the game. It won't be as much of a threat. I'll be able to be a bit more aggressive. But yeah, definitely the weakness of Vala is that she has, you know, this weaker health pool. She's very squishy. Enemy team is rotating in. Got a nice stun down. We're doing good damage to the Malfurion. Unfortunately, good ice block from him does save his life. Tyrael does pick off the kill on Malfurion. However, Tychus has gone down. Tyrael finished off, sorry, excuse me, Tychus, but we picked off Malfurion. Really nice work by ETC, pushing her out as much as he can to the side. And then power sliding away, knocking her back with a W. However, unfortunately, the Kerrigan has, I believe, extended range on her Q, so she's able to get back in again. We have 25 things on this shrine, though, so we have the shrine won. Unfortunately, yep, I did think that happened, alright. Yeah, unfortunately, Samuro does overstay a little bit. We had the wave pushed in, so the enemy team had complete vision control, and they still had two very scary heroes. I think it would have been better simply to wait for the teammates to respond, to push the wave out, and then to move in strength. We had so many monsters up on the shrine that basically we were going to win it no matter what. There was no danger of actually losing it. But good work by Samuro spotting that Jaina had no mana, saying, guys, you can go in. Even though they have like two very scary heroes up here, the Jaina and the Kerrigan. Jaina actually doesn't have any mana, so pushing in here isn't that scary at all. She's not going to be able to do anything. We have a Punisher secured now. We can begin to push. We've got ETC with Stage Dive. He can obviously appear whenever he wants to. Kerrigan gets a little bit caught out. Went for a very much over-aggressive move right there. Big noob move. And we get focused down. Jaina coming in once again. Tried to stand behind the Brightwing. Unfortunately, Jaina does have the piercing frostbolt at level 4, so we get picked off. Just bad positioning by me. Going much too aggressive. Vaulting in for a Rain of Vengeance that was never going to hit. And there we go. We get picked off instantly. The enemy team responds, instantly picks us off. But yeah, this is something I think I was saying here, is that like this is basically bad habits that develop while you're playing Diamond 1, because you can play more aggressive when you're playing against well, I'm saying this as, you know, obviously being a higher MMR than Diamond and like playing as team captain in every single game pretty much, except for like this one and a couple of others. But on the whole, you know, playing for the most part as a team captain, and you get used to not being punished as much as you should be. You get used to being able to play aggressive. Then when it came into a game like this, I kind of had to reassess the mental sort of state and kind of go, okay, wait, okay, step back. Yes, this would work against worse players, but it's not going to work against these guys. I could position like this against worse players, but it's not going to work against these guys. They're just going to come in and punish me very, very hard. Tyrael doing a little bit of poke. See, the Zarya is roaming in. Luckily that expulsion zone didn't quite hit. That was very lucky. As I went in with the Rain of Vengeance to try to save the Tychus. So Tychus does escape alive. I almost went down myself, but we do make it out. Samuro, at the meantime, is just soloing this bruiser camp. So we will have that pushing, add some lane pressure. So the enemy team is here. I'm just going to go around the safe way. Don't want to take any risks here. No need to go around the midway. Our team are very spread out. There we go. The enemy team is actually down at the bruiser camp. But obviously if they had been in the mid lane at any point and we went through that midway, even though it looked safe, I definitely think that this is a standard of enemy team that would have punished that. I was thinking of going for that regen glow, but seeing the Malfurion arrive, said no. Definitely not, so we vault away. ETC has stage dive ready. He's just doing split push ETC things. Samuro is establishing a split push down in the bottom as well.
Swift and silent.
And level 17 to 16. There's no significant advantage. Certainly a small advantage for the enemy team, but not a huge one. The enemy team does grab their bruiser camp and they are clearing ours out. But we're going to have Samuro being able to push onto a fort. Fortunately, the clone of Samuro not able to capture that, so myself and Tychus go and grab it. And swing around. Once again, we're the safe way. Start clearing out the wave. Hit the Tyrael with a bit of damage. Tyrael goes over to the right hand side. And we're starting to push in. But yeah, it was definitely fun for me. This is why I picked the Vala especially, was I wanted to see how it would work when I play Vala, who's kind of like my best hero, my most comfortable hero. I was like, okay, I want to actually try this out and test it and get to play her like against a really good team where we're going to be punished and things are going to go like the way they actually would. More so, much more similarly to a pro game, but where things are actually challenged a little bit more. We get stunned by the judgment. We're able to vault away. Tyrael taking a ton of damage now. I need to be very careful. My health is very low. Kerrigan could obviously jump in at any time and finish me off. We get a nice round of vengeance there. Cuts across the Malfurion, I think actually interrupting him. And then our W, our multi-shot, cuts across the enemy team, doing quite a chunk of damage. We're out of life. At this point, I'm just going to run away. There's so many things that could kill me so easily. An errant frostbolt, Eldruin's might, pretty much anything. It almost could have killed the Kerrigan right there, but obviously a huge risk to dive a Kerrigan on a shrine where she has so many things that she can Q to. Speaking of queuing too, she does Q to the Brightwing. We catch the Kerrigan with our W, slowing her down. Brightwing re-engages a little bit. Kerrigan gets a double Q. Very nicely played. You see that? She got the Q onto one minion, getting the reset, and then using that to jump a bit further and jump onto the Brightwing. She turns around. I was obviously expecting that her other cooldowns would be coming off, so we just used a Rain of Vengeance to secure the kill on her, ensure that she can't catch us and get away. 39 minions for the enemy team though. Tyrael is here. We do kill the Tyrael, and then we realize the problem that, yeah, we killed Tyrael. However, Tyrael's trait does pick up the Punisher for them, so we ultimately win the fight, but the enemy team does win the Punisher. Very close game this, really back and forth. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Enemy team pushing in. They do have about half a level lead, the level 19 to 18. Once again, it's not too significant. The big issue, of course, is that they're going to get more XP off of this Punisher, and they will be hitting level 20 first. Luckily, we're pretty close to level 20. We might be able to get there ourselves before the next big fight. But there is, of course, the possibility that the next Punisher will happen before we can even get that expulsion zone coming out from Zarya. Punisher is here. Just trying to do what damage you can to him. Not getting stuck in any of the roots or anything like that. The enemy team is about to hit 20. It's going to grab a well for the sake of it. Actually, with Brightwing being there, I think we didn't need to. Let's regen globes. There is a huge wave of XP. If you see that for us in the bottom lane, so that's actually a really, really big deal. That will help us get back into this game for sure. Enemy team does grab that bottom one. You can see they have hit level 20 now, so we need to be very cautious at this point. See, I'm just kind of scouting this out. Not actually looking to engage right here. Unfortunately, Brightwing has teleported in. And Brightwing just gets completely picked out of position. She has no movement abilities. So Brightwing just gets completely zoned out and taken out. It wasn't, you can see what the Brightwing is trying to do, like teleporting in with the vision, with her level 4 peekaboo talent to try get vision on that bottom lane. But without having blink heal, she's just too vulnerable and gets picked off. This is why I was saying earlier I probably wouldn't have picked Emerald Wind myself. It's nice to disengage stuff, but Kerrigan is so bursty. It doesn't seem as useful to me as, say, using Emerald Wind on something like a Butcher. And obviously not having Blink Heal then to dodge the Jaina and Kerrigan stuff makes things very difficult. Tyka's going to pop Odin to help clear out this wave and clear out this push and try to keep this keep alive. We get some nice damage down on the Tyrael and the Malfurion. They take out the healing fountain, and we're just trying to clear this wave and do what poke we can with our W build. We did pick up, by the way, frost shots at level 16, so giving it a slow, giving it. This is a risky move from the Tyrael. I'm not sure what he's doing. We get a stun on him as well. Fortunately, we missed the Q, and we're out of mana. Someone is fighting in the middle. I think it's just a clone. No, it's the real Samuro. He's actually found someone. And here we go. We see that there's actually a big fight going down, so we're going to come in here, join our teammates. We are low on pretty much everything. Pick off the Jaina. Well, ourselves and Tyrael both combined to pick off the Jaina. Tyrael goes down as well. We want to stay here and try to help pick up the Kerrigan, who has an absolutely ginormous shield at this point. About 50% of her health is... she has about 50% of her max health as a shield right now. Of what her max health would be. Nice blink in by the ETC, but nice work by the Kerrigan once again. These guys, obviously 2 pro players from the same team on voice comms, and they're able to basically counteract that, pulling ETC away and allowing them to escape, get some good return damage. But this is good. 3 of the enemy team members are dead. We are all alive. And nice work by Samuro setting up that flank, coming back in. At this point, I'm just going to Hearthstone. I'm extremely low on mana. I have enough to do a little bit, but there's really no need for me to be here. We've got 4 heroes up here. The enemy team only has 2 heroes. There's literally nothing they can do. In fact, you can see Samuro. He's sending one of his clones away. He might even teleport to that clone using Illusion Master. In fact, that's exactly what he does. He is out of there. There's no need for us to all be here, basically. He might teleport back. Yeah, he actually does teleport back. So really interesting. He's kind of keeping presence in both the mid and the bottom lane all this time. But, yeah, the enemy team is trying to capture their bruiser camp. Brightwing teleporting in. I think the enemy team is scared and they actually back off at this point. And we're able to steal the bruiser camp. So that's pretty nice. We've definitely reached the sort of the flipping point of the game where we're both even. And where it becomes much more scary for the enemy team. And we've taken a lot of damage throughout the Reign of Vengeance, literally just to scare Jaina away. If she walked forwards to finish me off, she would have walked into that and we could have escaped. But that was pretty bad, getting caught in all of that burst. Nice work by the enemy team, of course. See, I'm kind of trying to stay close and just poke as I can. We're not trying not to commit too much, just trying to get those W's in across the enemy team, do what poke damage we can. Unfortunately, Kerrigan does jump in. She still has her heroic, and that is enough to pick us off. However, Tychus does get vengeance for us. ETC coming in now. Tyrael, though, is able to Q out of there. The enemy keep does go down, that's good, but we did lose that fight. Myself and Brightwing, not in the best position and being very well punished by the Jaina. Taking a lot of damage. Jaina really working well. Haswap's doing a great job of the split focus in a team fight and really exploiting that and spinning that around. Just checking out the heroics, the level 20s that people have picked up here. And we'll see how things continue to go. But yeah, very close game. 22 minutes now on the clock. You see Samuro getting a little bit annoyed with the Brightwing, saying, "Can we not have Brightwing being at the front and dying first in every fight?" Which, yeah, I think as you pointed out, once again we had a bit of a frontline Brightwing. That one wasn't too bad, though. But yeah, definitely the Brightwing, I think with the Emerald Wind going a bit too far forwards, I do have to say that I think Blink Heal would have been so much better for her in this game, giving a little bit of spot burst healing, and then also being able to dodge these skill shots and zoning abilities. Because again, like the Jaina and the Kerrigan stuff is eminently dodgeable, and it's very easy to do so with something like Blink Heal. So I'm doing a bit of damage here, and then I'm just going to back away. I don't want to commit to clearing out that mid lane, because the enemy team could be there, going to come join my teammates. You can see they're doing exactly the same thing. They cleared out the bottom lane a little bit, then they all backed off, well, for the most part, mounted up. ETC obviously is safe enough. They backed off, came back, and didn't worry about it too much. Hello, enemy team. Sorry, you're taking a few hits. You can see she's not going to pop her personal shield at this point. Better to take a little bit of poke from the Jaina, or from, from Vala, than to sit and take that. So you need to be very cautious. Here is the enemy team. They are arriving. Brightwing's Peekaboo helping us get away. And we did take out the healing well. So that was sort of the main goal of the ETC, was to remove a healing well from the enemy team so they have no healing well nearby when it comes to this fight over this shrine. That's basically the goal right there. I think Samuro has found someone out of position. Fortunately, the enemy minion wave preventing me from actually rotating through the mid, so we go the safe direction once again. Samuro clones scouting out. We're able to push back through this mid lane, clear out this siege camp. You can see we're just trying to clear this out as quickly as possible, get that vision down the mid lane, and retreat down. Kerrigan is top, so this gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of being aggressive. Obviously with that top keep down, we now have catapults pushing through that lane. There's a bruiser camp there as well, so this helps us be a lot more aggressive, get a lot more work done. So yeah, we're just going to come onto this shrine, start clearing out as much as possible. The Samuro is obviously dealing with the mid wave. He will rotate down once it is appropriate. In fact, he's coming down now. Rotating away again. Obviously the Kerrigan could arrive soon, so we need to be cautious. Trying to get everything low. Odin gets popped, so we're going to have Odin coming out. And you see we get a lot of value off our multi-shots right here. Tychus has popped his damage. Frontline Brightwing once again getting taken out by the combo right there. Nice ice block from Malfurion. Going to help him avoid a lot of that damage, but he is going to go down ultimately. Obviously there's too many of us here for him to actually survive. Kerrigan had gone down during that fight as well. Kill the Tyrael. And look at that. I was like, damn, that was a good ice block from Hasselhoff. You probably have to watch a replay of that to catch it. But yeah, we were chasing them. We killed the Tyrael. Then I fired off the Valakut. I think it would have killed him, or just about. But obviously, instant reactions, instant ice block from Hasselhoff on the Jaina, knowing that was coming out. So he just was fully aware. He was like, okay, Valakut should be up very soon. If she hits me with the Q, and she can, it's going to kill me. So the millisecond it was fired, he went, boop, ice block. Not going to die from that. And he just cancelled it and walked away, of course, afterwards. But I just thought that was such a nice move. So slick. There you go. That fight went very well for us. They burned a lot killing the Brightwing, which was great. And our teammates were obviously doing work over on the side. Tychus doing a lot of damage. Samuro doing a lot of damage. And our teammates did manage to pick up the kill. And therefore win the team fight. But yeah, it's like Brightwing is dying first every single time, but it is costing the enemy team a lot in order to get that focus down. You can see later in the game now we're able to bully around that Zarya quite a bit. ETC actually stage diving in on top of the enemy team, bit of a risky move. We catch the Malfurion in our stun. Once again, nice ice block from him. Just trying to slow down the Jaina and the Zarya with our W. Maintaining our stacks and building our stacks of hatred on the minions as we sort of stutter step across. He comes in on me. I've popped Gloom, by the way, which is my level 13 talent. You can see I've been using that a couple of times during this game to try to stay alive. At this point, we are going down, but so is the enemy core. We turn and focus on the core instead of focusing on the fight. And GG. We win the game 26 minutes and 27 seconds in. Samuro had actually TP'd into mid. He hadn't noticed that we were going for the core, which is kind of funny. And ADRD, the Zarya for the enemy team, does grab MVP for this particular match. There's all the rewards. We got Painbringer. Samuro got Siege Master. But I was kind of thinking, like, from our team, I thought that ETC and Samuro played really well. Tychus obviously played excellently as well. He was just, for the most part, doing his job. I think there were definitely some more mistakes from myself and the Brightwing in terms of our position. Obviously, much less experience at playing at this level than those guys are. There you go, there are the stats at the end of the game. We did top hero damage across the board. Tychus not too far behind, though. On the enemy team, Zarya actually did the most. She had a really nice game. There's the talent build I went for. Not as strong now as it was before. Level 4 and level 7 talents have got nerfed, unfortunately. And here are the talent builds for everyone else, in case you guys are wondering what these Grandmasters like to run. Now you know. Now you know. Like I said, I think Blink Heal would have been better. Apart from that, though, I think all of the talent choices were really, really strong. I mean, fairly standard stuff for the most part across the board for this sort of level of play. There you go. Maybe the Tyrael stuff was a bit more unusual because he went for the Regen Master and Amplified Healing when he's going for sort of a damagey based Tyrael. You'd often see them pick up Smite talents levels 1 and 4 instead. And there you go. Also, the Shando's clarity for Malfurion is a bit unusual. But there you go. Pretty interesting. And that brought us to our promo game for Diamond 1. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Pretty cool seeing the #1 Grandmaster in action and to go up against a couple of these pro players that I recognize. It's very exciting and very random in the middle of just our, grinding through Diamond 1 games. The next game I'll bring you will be a promo match. It won't be the one we actually played right after this. It's going to be another one of the promo games. The promo game I played right after this one, and in fact I think I did play it right after. It was just funny because it was straight back to... In fact, it was one of the lowest standard promo games I played for Diamond 1. I had to play a few. I'll bring you one of them, but tomorrow. But it was just really low standard, or else it just seemed lower standard after playing that game with like some of the best players in Europe. But yeah, I was just like, there's no point. I was just playing on Muradin in that promo game that came up after this one, and it was just like, I was trying to do my best, but people were just dying all over the place. You know what I mean? They were just dying, and it was like, it's really not worth bringing this to you, especially because I've got other Muradin gameplay. So I said I'd just wait until an actually good promo game came up, and I'll bring you that. So that's what we'll have tomorrow. Good Diamond or Masters promo game. So stay tuned for that. And then we will dive into stuff with the next patch, which will be out probably Tuesday night. So yeah, look for gameplay in the new patch probably Wednesday or so. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye bye.